And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I told you I'll be dropping 2 videos today. I'm here with the running back preview for Week 15 FanDuel main slate. Let's just get with the breaking news. It happened while I was actually recording the quarterback video, and then when I actually wanted to check up on some news, because sometimes injury reports do come out, and some people, some people already put on IR because of what happened to them last week. So I was like, let me just check and refresh. I was looking at some hockey news and I was looking at NFL, and then boom, I see Daniels is ruled out for this week. I don't know if he's ruled out for the rest of the year. I think they should just keep the man healthy. I understand it's basically 4 weeks at the most, and it's basically a month left for football. But they're not playing for anything. Like I said in the last video, they were one of the few teams that were already, forget mathematically, officially eliminated. So they have no chance. So I get my wish. Mariota's in against the Giants. I'll be getting both sides of that game. So I love that game even more. But let's get to the running backs. So with Jahmyr Gibbs, like I said, the Rams are a defense that you have to respect. Obviously, they got cooked by Carolina just a little couple weeks ago. But even with Jahmyr Gibbs, because of his utility, there has been games where Jahmyr Gibbs, because of a strong front four, even with his speed, strong front seven, he can still get you there off his passing, and of course they're gonna give Jahmyr Gibbs as many touchdowns as it is. This to me is not one of the weeks where you play both of them because of how stingy the Rams are. I think it's a worse matchup for Montgomery because of his style of running than what it is for Gibbs. So definitely Gibbs is worth being the pay up option this week. When it comes to top plays, though, yes, and I've said it a few times. Let's get it back to CMC against Tennessee. 9,000 flat. Seems like a bargain for the opportunity that he has. Also running and receiving. Just a man. He's had another amazing season, especially fantasy. Definitely in the running for fantasy MVP, where you're looking at it for DFS or season long. Just been consistent and straightforward. Just a great play damn near every week. Barkley, they're going to have to lean on him a bit more. Even though, like I said, a lot of people complain about how predictable, how ugly, and how stale the offense is. After that loss last Thursday to Houston, if there's any way to start your march to solidify yourself into the playoffs, a game at home, being pissed off against the Raiders, against the incoming Raiders, who most likely are looking at not starting Geno Smith because of his injury. It might be Kenny Pickett. So we'll see. We'll see, because if the defense can get to Kenny Pickett and get some turnovers, that's shorter fields for Saquon and Hurts to really dominate the game. But definitely for Saquon, definitely see a breakout game there. It didn't go as well. He was still a fine play Thanksgiving. Biggest slate. Don't know if he's going to be as popular, but it's still Cincinnati. And they're desperate, and the Ravens are desperate to stay pretty much into the thick of things because it looks like it's going to be an ugly photo finish between them and the Steelers going into the end of the year. So Ravens at Cincinnati this time, 8,400 for Derrick Henry. Still gotta like that. But I will say this, I don't love it, because the reason why I don't love it is because I've been saying it the last couple of weeks. Towards the end of the year, some of these teams are playing spoiler. Some of these lower defenses are coming in ready to play. We've had the Carolina defense coming through a couple of times. We've seen, obviously the Browns have been consistent or whatever with Garrett. It's probably like their first time, last week was the first time all year that, somebody got one over on them. But when it comes to the Bengals, ever since the Thanksgiving slate, the Bengals defense has been playing well, even though, yes, they gave up a lot of points. But the way they look as if they're fighting. They're very resilient. That's why that on both DraftKings and on FanDuel, they don't look bad as a defensive punt. And like I said, the Ravens just look like a mess. They look a little bit better if they can get Trey Hendrickson in, their sack leader. He was out for the Bills game, but like I said, we'll see. But we'll leave that alone for now. When it comes to other top plays, I see a bounce back week for Quinshon Judkins. Chicago has a better front seven than a defensive backfield, but this is another solid match for Quinshon to get in there. And with the maturity of Shedeur Sanders, I like the fact that, hey, there was a time that all they did was run with this kid. And last week, yes, he was still a bust, But for future aspirations, they started throwing to him. If they see him getting loaded up and he's the man there, they actually gave him some screen plays and stuff like that to get him at least his long touchdown, even though they shut down the run last week. So Quinshon Judkins definitely a bounce back candidate again this week. Like I said, been touting him basically for the after all the Bishop Tootin nonsense or whatever. I literally have been touting him, I think, for 5 to maybe 7 weeks straight, and I'm gonna go back at it again. He pays off more than he flops. Travis Etienne. This time it's against the Jets defense, so definitely like that there. I mean, they haven't been good all year, and if you need some recency bias against them, last couple of weeks, Ollie Gordon coming in for Achane. He scores a late touchdown, ran decently. Achane was set to break the slate last week in 9 touches, 7 carries, 2 receptions. He fell on the ball. He's a little bit hurt with his ribs. So Ollie Gordon came in, still dominated the Jets on the ground, and then the week before, Bijan Robinson. So Etienne, definitely one of my favorite plays, definitely one of my favorite mid-range running back prices. Breece Hall on that opposite end. I don't love him as much as Etienne because now the Jacksonville Jaguar defense is playing a little bit better. Early in the season, it was overachieving, and like I said, the stats just didn't match up the rankings. But now they're looking like a solid playoff team. The defense is looking a little bit better. That's why don't love Breece Hall, but he's one of the few guys that have the concentrated touches on the Jets, and that's what you need in fantasy. I think a low-owned Kyren Williams this week is definitely something against Detroit. We know how susceptible the offense looks on the road. Well, the defense could get eaten up on the road, and I do like Kyren. I understand that game has a humongous 55.5 total, and it's because of what both the two quarterbacks can do with their 2 wide receivers. So with that being said, Kyren is going to be a low-owned option for that late 425 hammer. Chase Brown could also be a nice little option right there against Baltimore. Like I said, that defense is just still not getting given. He's also a double threat with, like I said, you just got to love his ceiling more with Burrow in the backfield because he's getting more of the screen passes that he was getting like last year. I like Rico Dowdle against New Orleans no matter how much I love New Orleans defense this year. I like Dowdle this week. And you know what it is? Maybe people don't like the opportunity, but you know what he can do and what he's capable of. I think what makes Dowdle attractive is the fact that he's right there in the middle. He doesn't seem too much. He doesn't seem too cheap. He's just right there in the middle. That's the thing that stood out for Rico Dowdle for me was that price. As we keep going, Omarion Hampton, Kamani Vidal. Kamani Vidal is still commanding the touches, but eventually Omarion Hampton is going to work his way in. But I don't like them against KC at all, so we can go over that. We get here. I don't think RJ Harvey's in the best of spot like he was last week. Travion Henderson, that's now what I told y'all. The Travion Henderson stuff was too good to be true. Last week they basically split the carries. I didn't even care about what the touches were, but when it comes to just running back, when it comes to that style, Travion, even though he's more of a pass receiver, 13 carries to 11 for Ramondre Stevenson. I don't want to figure that out. Even though it is a good, I mean, that seems to me one of those things that it could be the key to a slate. Somebody that cheap with a great running matchup. It is a good thing, but all I can tell you is now that they're both fully healthy, it's a coin flip. Good luck figuring that out. Woody Marks is my favorite pay down, just like last week. Obviously, I didn't see Tony Pollard coming, but just like last week, when it comes to favorite plays, I'm going to literally be stopping here, almost stopping most of the time, at 6,500. This is no longer a timeshare. He's the man now. Chubb is on the bench pretty much, relieving him. Woody Marks had I think he's had 17 and 20-plus carries in the last 2 weeks, 6,500. So he's kind of in the Harvey spot that Harvey was in last week. As we keep going down here, other values, Kenneth Walker is interesting against Indianapolis. Devin Neal should now be trusted now that him and Tyler Shuck have been working together. They've gotten the carries and they've gotten the reps, the first team reps and everything. Devin Neal had his most work of the year ever since with Kamara being slowed down and hurt. Devin Neal looks good at 6,100 still. And as we continue here, I think the only thing that I would like, if for some reason Tyron Tracy is out, then Devin Singletary, without a doubt, is worth a look at 5,600 against a bad Washington defense. And like I said, I will try to get down here because it seems like He's taking over the backfield. He didn't get that many carries last week because the game got out of hand. So if they're playing catch up and the game is not close, when I say not close, within 10-13, going past two touchdown possessions, Chris Rodriguez will hit the bench. But Chris Rodriguez definitely looks good against the Giants' rush defense. He's basically taking it over while Nichols and everybody else has pretty much taken a back seat to him. As you can see, the work has started to be consistent, staying in the teens. He was the lead back against Minnesota, but the game got out of hand, so they went Nichols and Krosky Merritt from the coaches speaking. So Chris Rodriguez, my favorite Redskins running back, well, he's my second favorite Redskins runner. He's my favorite, I said Redskins, wow. Commanders running back, but when it comes to runner, it is without a doubt Mariota. And I don't think I'll be looking at anything going down this far, to be honest. But Devin Singletary will be interesting, without a doubt. Nothing down here at all. Oh, and by the way, with the Trevor Etienne, if I'm not mistaken, probably Jacksonville might look a little down more on Bishop Tootin because, if I'm not mistaken, I think he fumbled twice, lost a fumble, if I'm not mistaken. No. Fumbled twice, lost 2 fumbles. So yeah, that put him in the doghouse. When you have that kind of shared load and somebody starts turning over the ball, turnovers damn near kills one guy and damn near benefits the other. But once again, thank you for tuning in for the running back slate. So once again, Jaden Daniels was ruled out while I was recording the quarterback video. So Mariota is in. And I just love that Washington Giants game off. That looks very sneaky. If I can't, no, I will not be able to. I'll be busy for the rest of the day. So wide receiver video, more than likely, I'll look it over. If there's a lot of injuries as usual, then that will wait to the end of the week. If not, tomorrow we shall get a tight end defense video combined. And other than that, that should be it. So definitely 2 videos coming out over the next 2 days. But I had to drop these 2, especially with the Jaden Daniels news. Good luck, everybody. See y'all tomorrow. This is your boy, Grade A Fantasy, and I'm signing off.